taken a little bit of a field trip. We've gone down to one of the local box stores where, locally, for me anyway, this is ground zero for a lot of the power tool equipment. And it's basically geared for the homeowner, like yourself, or the new contractor. They have everything from bobcats and tractors to trenchers and other equipment that I'll show you. The main purpose behind this is familiarization for you when you get to the point of needing something more than a pick and a shovel. I am a very firm believer in working smarter, not harder. There's nothing worse than ruining your back, ruining your arms and legs when you can let a machine do the work for you, provided that you have enough room to do that. Now, I'm on the back of a pull-behind trailer with one of the smaller Barretto trenchers. Barretto is the brand name. Pretty good size. I mean, from the handle and everything up front, it's the better part of 6 feet or more. And if you start doing really small, very small type of yards, this is going to take up a lot of room. It's going to, you have to make sure that when you start doing trenching, either for drainage or for irrigation system, that you have enough room to start and stop and be able to clean your trenches out and still get the machine out and back to the trailer so you can take it back to the store or the center or wherever you got it. So this is one of the smaller ones. Let me show you a couple of the bigger ones, and then I'll show you some things if you happen to have a yard that is accessible either through the back fence, or you have a large side yard where you can take a section of fence out, which I've done hundreds of times. We can show you something a little bigger if you need to do bigger trenching jobs, irrigation jobs, or you need to move material in and out for the purpose of grading or sloping or debris, taking debris out if you're doing a demolition portion of your project. So let's go over there and I'll show you some of the bigger ones. So still taking a look at trenchers. This is one of the larger Barretto brand trenchers that you can rent. And this one's almost like 8.5 feet from the standing platform where I'm at, with all the hydraulic levers and such in front of you. Very, very powerful machine, and it can go through a pretty heavy duty soil. However, most rental places will want to know where you're trenching and are there things like major rocks or etc., because they don't want their $20,000 machine damaged because of you. Now, you can take insurance out on a damage waiver out on your rental, which doesn't cost that much. But man, if you hit something major and like broke that chain or the bucket or bent something, if you didn't have that insurance, the cost of repair would be on you. So make sure you do a little test digging at your job site, your yard, and see what's underneath the ground. If you're in a real rocky, shaly type of soil area, this will take care of it, but it's going to be a rough day. It's going to beat you up, and it's going to beat the machine up a little bit. But if they do have in your area, if they have the trenching chains that have rock points on them, oftentimes that'll get through the shaly rock and other soil like that a lot easier. So let's talk about moving stuff in and out of a job site and what power tools are applicable to that. So let's say, for instance, your particular project may need just a little bit more help than a wheelbarrow. And that is taking things out of the project, like excessive soil, a lot of debris, heavy stuff, like maybe rocks and stuff that you no longer want in the landscape. Then you want to get into a power equipment selection similar to what's on both sides of me here. When you get into the skid steers or the front-loading tractors, this is for a yard where you have that much room to get into it. And I've used both of these successfully on a lot of projects over the years. And I'm really partial to the skid steers because of the power, even though I do like the tracks rather than the four wheels. The track on the Bobcats are I don't know, they're easier on the ground and easier on pavement, leaving marks, etc. on driveways and stuff. But these machines are capable of not only taking a lot of stuff out, including digging swimming pools, etc., but also bringing a lot of stuff in. For instance, here in the valley where I live, it is very, very popular to create elevation in front yards or backyard landscapes, creating berms and contours in the yard, and then retaining that with either sitting walls or boulders, other elements like that. And this is really good for bringing in heavy boulders, or if you had 40 cubic yards of soil that you had to bring in to make your contours. This takes care of that in less than a couple hours. 40 yards in a 3 cubic foot wheelbarrow and a flathead shovel is going to take you the better part of 2 days or more, with a couple of you working, 2 or 3 of you working 8 hours a day. And this would take care of it in a couple hours. So this is for taking stuff out and bringing stuff in. It's not cheap. You're probably going to pay, the last time I rented one of these things, it's probably $300 a day. But if you can plan your work, which we will talk about later in episodes to come, plan your work, this $300 expenditure might very well save you $1,300 as far as hiring somebody or having friends and neighbors help you when they are or are not available. This you can go get yourself. Now, obviously, there's a lot of weight here, so you're going to need a vehicle that's going to be able to tow it. A half-ton pickup will tow this without any problem. The hitch weight on it is probably 500 pounds or so. A normal half-ton pickup, 3/4 ton, no problem. 1 ton, obviously, no problem. But if you had a friend or family, or if you guys own a pickup such as that, I've even seen them done on the Tundras and the older T100 Toyotas. Nissan Titans can do these without any problem, as long as you're not going up major league hills, because the total weight is quite a bit. But think about something like this to make the job easier. Remember, always work smarter and not harder. Now, let's go take a look at some other things, including hand tools, but we're going to continue a couple other things that are very applicable to soil prep and groundwork. Okay, so join me over here at the other side. Not only are power tools easy to use, they also teach you right here before you take them out if you've never used them before. But doggone it, you know, quite frankly, they're fun as heck to use stuff like this. Here we are in front of a little mini excavator, and the bucket has a 12-inch bucket on it. And if you remember from the drainage series that we did, a 12-inch bucket is perfect if you're putting in a French or a curtain drain for drainage purposes. Small little excavators like this can fit into small yards, and if you had to dig, say like a 12-inch footing or something for a small retaining wall, and you needed something that was going to dig that thing rather rapidly, again, instead of a pick and shovel, something like this will go through it in a matter of minutes rather than days doing your pick and shovel work. Very easy to tow, and also very easy to learn how to use. You just have to have a little hand-eye coordination and play with it here on the trailer in the yard, and then you'll be fine at home. Just keep in mind, everybody's got to know their limitations, and if this isn't for you, but maybe you have a family member that's not afraid to do it, and you have them available on a Saturday or Sunday, or any day that you're off. You can have them come over and, buy them lunch and put them on this for the day and let them do their thing. You can also use this to start or finish a irrigation project. Maybe you have to bring in a larger pipe system, or you have to dig a large valve assembly, which we'll cover in irrigation. This is the perfect thing, and it will dig a valve assembly area in a matter of 3 minutes. So another mini excavator, okay? Something that's very easy to use, and you can get at the local box stores and most of your equipment specialty rental places that may be in and around where you live. Now let's go take a look at one more soil prep thing, and then we'll deal with hand tools. Now we're at one of my favorite power tools, because I actually own one that's similar to this. These are what they call the mini skid steers. And the mini skid steers are exactly like the Bobcat that I showed you earlier, only they're smaller. They're more compact, and they were invented and custom made for small residential yards. Very powerful, and they come with a lot of attachments. This particular boxer one happens to have the auger, the digging augers and power head, which allows you to dig a fence post in 2 seconds, allows you to dig planting holes for 1 gallon or 5 gallon plants in mere seconds. You can bring in or take out material very easily if you don't have as much room that a larger Bobcat needs to get in. This is what I've used almost 100% as far as doing a lot of the landscaping I've done over the last 15, 18 years. And when you're using something like this, again, it's a little bit of hand-eye coordination with fingers and thumbs, and it is a very short learning curve. But this, as far as the standard residential homeowner, this is what I would rent if you needed to bring in rocks, boulders. You can get rototiller attachments and other things for this, where you can do your rototilling, where when we go take a look at walk-behind rototillers, these here do all the work and not so much you. If you're at the end of a Barretto rototiller for 4, 5, 6 hours, you're gonna feel like you have been on a bucking bronco for that whole time. So something like this does all the work without all the vibration, the pounding, or anything else. So consider the mini skid steer if you need to move stuff in and out of your smaller residential yard. Let's go take a look at rototillers. So the large walk-behind tillers, they're good for something. They're good for small to medium-sized yards, and great for 2 purposes. Not only breaking up existing soil so you can introduce organic matter, but they're also good, and I've used them a lot of times, for grading purposes. Say, for instance, you can't get a skid steer into your backyard, and you don't want to take on a pick and shovel job by regrading or moving. A classic example of is putting a patio in, and yet you need to regrade that patio a little bit. Well, you can go out and pre-soak that area the night before, come down here the next morning, get a large walk-behind Barretto tiller or whatever brand is available where you're at, and you can rototill that area, and now you have 3 to 4 to 5 inches deep of nice soft dirt, of which you can excavate out with a flathead shovel a lot easier than if you did it with a pick and shovel. So the walk-behind tillers come in a few sizes. This is the larger walk-behind. They do have a hydraulic one, which is not available for show right now, but you know, a Barretto walk-behind hydraulic rototiller worked really good. Then you have the smaller front-tine tillers. These, if you have hard ground, these will do the job, but they are going to beat you up quite a bit to start with. A lot. Then across the way there, you will see the smallest of the tillers. Those are the Mantis tillers. Those are good for larger raised beds for vegetable gardens or flower bed edging areas that you're doing for the first part of the spring. That's what the Mantises are used for. You already have to have pretty good soil, a lot of organic matter in it, something that you can sink a shovel in really easy. Something you can sink a shovel in really easy, but if you have hard soil already, it'll bounce quite a bit for quite a while. A real key to rototilling is pre-soak. Pre-soak, pre-soak, pre-soak. Then let it sit overnight or even a day, and then go in and do it. Okay, lastly for today, we're going to talk about if you need to take out an existing lawn, and I'm sorry about the background noise, we can't do anything about it, but you need to take out an existing lawn or part of an existing lawn. This is what they call a power sod cutter. This is a machine that you can introduce into the ground that has a reciprocating blade that goes into the ground anywhere from a 1/2 inch up to 3 inches deep, and it will literally cut the sod into long strips of which you can take and roll up, throw in a wheelbarrow or into a front loader, and take it to your pickup, take it to your trailer, whatever you might need to get rid of it. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours at the end of these things. But compared to going out there with a wide end of a pick and picking it out, it doesn't even compare. You can take out 1,000 square feet of sod in a morning with this, and it would take you 3 days to take out 1,000 square feet of sod, unless you had 15 people to do it with you. Again, work smarter, not harder. Yes, you do have a cost factor, but do you have 15 picks available to you? Do you have 15 people available to you? So use the machinery that's invented for the task. So these are pretty simple to use. If you look at the handle, you have a throttle control, you have a blade cutting engagement lever, which will start the back and forth reciprocating type of blade. Then you have a drive, which will cause power to move it forward. There's adjustments up here where you can adjust the depth of the blade depending on what kind of sod you had. But like I started to say earlier, very important to kill off the area that you are going to remove, because it's so much easier. If you have things like zoysia or Bermuda grass or anything like that, if that grass is not dead when you cut it out, it is going to grow back in a matter of weeks, right back into your new lawn or new planting bed, whatever you're doing. So make sure you treat the turf or the weed area that you're cutting out first. Allow it to die out completely. It may take 1 or 2 or 3 applications to do that, and then you can introduce a power equipment, something like this. So I hope you learned something. These are the basic tools for landscaping, as far as groundwork, as far as sod removal, as far as bringing stuff in or taking stuff out of your project. Thanks for going along with us today. We're glad you're here, and we hope you've learned something. We'll see you next week at Ranch. Goodbye for now.